Hello, this is Joe Perry, the Hebrew Hillbilly, coming at you with producer Jeeves from the beautiful Midwest. Uh, I tell you the truth, I've been having some problems the past several weeks. Nothing serious, but it's just turning this whole thing into a into a 25 to 45 minute segment, shortening it down like that. I can tell you, I don't write a script because I can't follow a script, because if I try to read a script as I'm speaking aloud, I stutter because I have a stutter. That's, but being able to just form things in my mind and talk about them, uh, it's not as bad, and it's something I can concentrate on that. Uh, so I don't actually write a script, but I write different ideas and different points that I would like to get across, just bullet points. And I mean, I'm I've got 4 hours of material here, easy. Stuff on everything. My big problem is, yeah, trying to find what I'm gonna or write, and what I'm gonna through what I've written, what I'm gonna narrow down and what I want to talk about most. Because some of it, I think, well, maybe I can save it the next week. Well, by next week, sometimes it's no longer applicable, or it's so out of the lexicon that it's not something anybody's gonna want to talk about. So yeah, it's kind of eventually, I think, when the millions start rolling in, and when I get my endorsements from the sneaker companies, and all those things that are never actually going to happen, that's when we're probably going to have to turn this into a maybe do a 15-minute segment on each topic, and it probably end up stretching it into, I don't know, a couple of hours, because a couple of hours wouldn't be hard on what I have right now. But I am going to narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down in that I've given hints. This is what I really want to talk about most of all. I've been giving hints about my political bent, and actually been doing some introspection in that and thinking about it and what is my political bent. Because in the 1970s and 80s, and even into the early 90s, I've always been pretty centrist, but I was left of center, would be an easy way to say it. And now, some of the things I am are considered right wing or far right wing. And the funny part about that is I'm not really, I don't have never really seen myself as left or right. I've seen myself as principled. I have rules. I have red lines within myself that I'm not going to cross. I have a core structure, a belief structure that was given to me by life experience and my creator, and the ethics and morality instilled in me by my creator. And those don't change. What changes is where they seem to be on the human spectrum. Like, for instance, my abortion. I believe that abortion is morally repugnant. It is abhorrent in every way, but should not be illegal because sometimes it is necessary. What is abhorrent about it and what is repugnant about it is the fact that my old belief, and it'll sound familiar to you, now it's a far right wing cry, I guess, for some people, because I believe that it should be safe, legal, and rare, extremely rare, uh, because there are times when it is medically necessary. It's something that has to happen. Uh, but the fact that it's become a form of birth control is vile and heinous. It's beyond anything. It's beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. That it's that uh, uh, murder, which it is murder. It is killing. It is taking a life. It has become a matter of convenience.
And on top of all that, something I fucking hate is the disingenuousness of the quote pro-life people who are always trying to make abortion about rape victims and people who have medical issues.
Oh no, those are the pro-choice people,
Yeah.
not the pro-life. Pro-life people want it completely
Did I
illegal.
say pro-life?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. The pro-life people want it, but you're talking about the and it's no longer abortion. It's now been given the gentle euphemism of reproductive health care.
Yeah, no. But the thing that annoys me is when fucking pro-choice people will do that. And it's like, no, you don't care about rape victims. You don't care about people who have a medical reason behind it. No, you just want you just don't want to be responsible.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I just mentioned the fact that I stutter. You want to hear somebody stutter? Whenever you hear somebody start talking about, well, what about rape and incest and then the life of the life of the mother, you or look straight at them and say, absolutely, absolutely, we are in total 100% agreement. It should be completely legal in the cases of rape, incest, or in the life of the mother. Other than that, it should be illegal. And since you agree with me, how about but that ain't what I said. Yeah, yeah. But what they do is they're trying to take outliers and make them or use them as a common argument, which is why
Yeah.
I don't go in that route. I do believe that there are times when it is medically necessary that it
But that doesn't mean you're gonna use fucking victims of rape as a fucking shield for criticism,
yeah,
like
as
pro-choice.
a, yeah, as a bulwark for your argument. It's stupidity, and like you said, it's disingenuous. But now that would have been my belief on that would have been pretty liberal and back in the days, but it's my now somehow that's completely right wing. I haven't lost my principles. My principles have stayed the same. It's just how they're looked upon. And like in the case of the death penalty, I fully not only believe in, but or the death penalty, but I believe it should be expanded to not chronic. What is the I can't believe the word chronic. Habitual sex offenders should be given the death penalty. If you've been uh, convicted of more than one sex crime, then yeah, you should be executed. You're showing that you can't live in this society. Let's get rid of you. And of course, that's also a stupid friggin' argument that you'll hear from the left uh, about being pro life, but you support the death penalty. Well, there's a big difference between an innocent child who's never committed a crime and some peckerhead who got pissed off and went out and wiped out a dozen people
There's a difference between a child that doesn't understand their choices and the adult that just raped that child. Okay.
well no well I mean an unborn child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even still.
Yeah,
You know?
that's what I'm saying. It's
But
yeah, or killing a baby in the womb is not the same as killing a serial killer or some psycho mass murder or some pedophile, which for some reason we don't kill them. I don't know why. Generally speaking, prisoners take care of that, but
yeah.
which just goes to show. I mean, there is good in everybody. As far as that goes, and this ideology, I've never believed, because I know for a fact that well, I'll leave that alone. I'll go someplace else, or I'm going to go someplace else. As far as free speech and my Second Amendment beliefs, I believe that there should be bumpers on the Second Amendment. I don't believe that anybody in the world should be able to just walk into a gun store and give a fake name and walk out with or drive out the back garage with an M1 Abrams tank or something. No, there has to be some structure to that. I don't believe in registration, but as far as that goes, but I do believe that if you've shown that you can't be trusted in society, there should be uh, there should be limits on your ability to keep it and bear arms. I also happen to believe that if you have been arrested for something, if you have served your time, gotten out, and as long as it wasn't a sex crime or some type of a horribly violent crime, uh, perpetrated against or some innocent people, I believe that after a certain point, say if you can go 10 years without being arrested, then there should be some process in which people should be able to start getting their rights back, their right to vote, and possibly their right to bear arms, as far as that goes. I don't believe they should be taken for the rest of your life. That's foolishness. Now that 30 years ago, 40 years ago would have been just an absolute radical left wing ideology. It's on the right. You see, it's that's just the way it is. Illegal immigration, another one. There is no such thing as illegal. They're an illegal immigrant. There is no such thing as an undocumented. They're an illegal alien. They're somebody who came into our country illegal. They are alien to our system, which means they are outside our system. They are. There's no way I can support it, honestly. And if you are somebody who says that there's nobody who's illegal on stolen land, which is another way of, it's just soft racism. That's that. All that is.
I would like to point out that that means there's nobody legal on any land.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because quite frankly, Homo sapiens, human beings, if you don't live in northern Africa, then you're on stolen land.
If you don't live in the fucking Sahara Desert, then you're not a native. Okay?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, from well, not just the Sahara, but all of northern Africa. Back before it became a desert, that's where humans are from. That's where all our ancestors are traced back to. We all came from there, regardless of what ideology you may follow. The left purports to be the party of science, but they seem to forget a lot of science when it's convenient. But yeah, it's and not only that, that's another form of soft racism against the First Nations that lived here. Yes, I refer to the American Indians as the First Nations because they were the first people to get here, and yes, but they weren't. This land wasn't stolen from them. It wasn't their car keys or their wallet, and they were just carrying it carelessly in their back pocket through Times Square, and somebody suddenly no, it wasn't stolen from them. The land was bought from them. It was also won by us in battle. That's the way it is. And they fought hard and they fought well. They just lost because in war, one side always loses. That's just the nature of it.
And plenty of them have been given land back, and you know what they do with that land?
What's that?
In the best of cases, they build a fucking house and then let their neighbors build houses around them.
Yeah.
They build a fucking neighborhood and it just becomes a fucking community.
Yeah.
In the worst cases, they build a fucking trailer park or do nothing.
Well, actually, that's kind of a misnomer. There are a lot of trailer parks on tribal lands, but there are still laws in some areas that prevent actual ownership of tribal land by the people who live on it. So the laws prevent them from actually building permanent structures. The only houses they can have are what do you call it? Are trailers. They have to be able to be moved in case because the land is somehow it's still held in trust by the government or by the tribe or something like that. There's weird rules about that, which honestly should be done away with, and it's something that should be looked into, and I got no problem with that. But to say that somehow the First Nations peoples of this country were a bunch of fools who were duped into terror, they are losing their land because it was stolen by those evil white people it's just another it's just like them saying black people are too dumb or incapable of getting IDs, so so voter registration and voter ID or requirements are somehow racist. No, like I said, it's that whole, and that's another thing that drove me away from being able to call myself a Democrat was just the soft racism of the awfuls.
Here, let me do my best impression of a fucking of the modern fucking leftists. You can't be racist against white people.
Yeah, you hear that one too. Yeah,
Which is bullshit.
the very definition of racism is the fact that you judge somebody based solely on immutable characteristics, such as the color of their skin or their where they were born, things they have no control over. That's national origin. That's it's stupidity and it is racism. But that could just saying it about white people doesn't not make it racism. That's just another level of stupidity. Like saying men are women and women are men, and there is no difference. That's where the whole idea of equity comes from, and equity versus equality are two very different things. Equality is very important. We should all be given equality. That's the goal. It should be the goal of all people is equality. Equity is absolute stupidity. The big difference being is equality. Think of it as a foot race, a 100-meter dash. Equality is we all line up on the same line. We all have been given the same amount or the same amount of time to train for the race. And we all start the race at the exact same time. Okay, that's equality, and that's what the way it should be. Equity is it doesn't matter that whether or not you've even been told that the race is going on. It doesn't matter whether you're even in the race. It doesn't matter whether you trained and are a superb athlete, or you're just a big fat wad of chewed bubble gum that is literally drinking a milkshake at the starting line. Equity means that no one is allowed to cross that finish line before anybody else, which means that whether you're the greatest athlete in the world and you worked your ass off and trained yourself to death for it, or whether you're sitting at home and not even involved in the race, it doesn't matter. You all have to get up across that line at the same time, which means nobody gets to cross the line because equity is impossible. Uh, there is only equality and opportunity. People aren't equal. I'm not equal to producer Jeeves here. My grandkids or kids are not equal to me. I'm not equal to them. Women are not equal to me. I'm not equal to women. We all have our talents. We all have things that we're good at. We all have things that we're bad at. We are all different. We are equal in the fact that we are all human beings and should be given an equal opportunity, but we are not all equal completely. If we were all equal completely, we'd all be clones. There would be no difference. There would be no such thing as equality and equity, and because and the fight for those things, because we'd all be one person. We'd be the Borg, for Christ's sakes, and it's not a possibility. Okay, we're not mindless, faceless carbon copies of one another. We are all different. We are all unique in certain ways. We all have many, many, many things in common, but we are not equal.
We are all individuals, and our individuality is what makes us human.
Yes.
Whether or not that's a good thing is a moot point because it's just a part of who we are.
Just a part. It's a part of the condition of life. Yes. There's nothing you can do about that. There's so many things I gotta. Like I said, start.
You need a marker?
Oh no! I got a marker right here. And it's okay. One more thing I'm going to go through. What time? I kind of got off on a rant.
19 minutes.
Okay, so we're still doing good. I guess I wasn't running my fucking jib too much. I thought it was. I honestly thought I went off on a long tangent. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Well, it was a productive tangent.
Yeah.
So.
Something I am seeing quite a bit of because I think as soon as I can figure, and this is something I'm absolutely unequal in. My grandchild, my oldest granddaughter, Lyric, my baby girl, love her more than anything. She doesn't understand this about me, and she tries to help, but I have to call her back and call her back and call her back and get her help over and over again because she lived with it. She grew up with it. She teethed on it. Much like producer Jeeves, who's a man of a much younger age than me, and which is why he handles the computer stuff because I have no idea how any of this stuff works. I mean, literally Windows XP was when basically when I pulled the pin and got away from computers. And but at any rate, I'm getting off on another
Windows
tangent.
XP was the superior operating system anyway.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was what was it replaced? Vista, wasn't it? And
No, Vista was just meant to be a sort of catch-all system.
but which one came? It was XP then Vista, right?
No, it was Windows 7 was after XP. Windows Vista was supposed to be a lateral upgrade. It wasn't supposed to be better. It was just supposed to be a universal system.
Yeah, the one after XP, I could not figure it out for the fucking life of me, and that's what it discouraged me so bad. That's what got me away from.
It was probably Vista,
okay,
but Vista wasn't meant to be the next system. It was supposed to be lateral to every other system.
Okay. Well, at any rate, yeah, XP was where I was. That's what. So that'll tell you how far away it's been. But she put, and like I said, I'm getting off on a tangent. She put the Chinese commie spy one, TikTok. She put TikTok on my phone, and I still can't figure out how to make it work. She showed me, and I think it might be my phone. I mean, my cell phone's a rotary dial, for God's sakes. It's, I mean, I don't. It does have like different programs and stuff in it to do all kinds of different stuff, but I use it to send texts, text. I type on it, and I use it for phone calls, and I watch YouTube videos on it, and those are really the only three things I know how to do on it.
Dude, if I didn't use Spotify and YouTube on this piece of shit so much, I'd have a flip phone. I know how you feel.
Yeah, I'm just not. But you still know a hell of a lot more about the computers than I do. I mean, look at your setup there, for God's sakes. It looks like the control or the control panel on the Starship Enterprise up there. But at any rate,
for anyone who doesn't know, my setup is 2 computers, an old 720p fucking flat screen, and a basic gaming PC.
Okay, well, it's a lot more than I know what to do with, so kiss my ass. Anyway, that's why he's doing it. I mean, here's a good guy. He's the producer trying to talk himself out of his own job, like he's not doing anything. You're doing everything, for Christ's sake. But she put the TikTok thing on my phone, and I can't figure out how to make it work. And the YouTube shorts, I've been wanting to do some shorts, to throw an idea here and there out at you, which I'm going to eventually figure this out. But so far I've not had a lot of luck. But this is one thing I did want to, the millennials especially. Now I'm not hearing much about it from the Gen Zers. I really ain't. Some of the older Gen Zers, but the younger Gen Zers, like I said, this is, you have every other generation is worth a shit. Every other generation is useless. One thing I've always said, and I'm going to say, and my parents were boomers, and I love my parents, but the boomer generation was a pile of shit. Okay, they truthfully were. There's something, and it's not my place, and you can. This is my opinion. I'm going to put it out there. If you don't care, but fine, that's cool that you don't care, but it's my opinion, and I'm going to state it because I have a right to my own opinion. But you don't have to give a shit. And that is that I will never forgive the baby boom generation for what they did to their veterans, to their Vietnam veterans. That was absolutely below any level of, like I say, decorum. You hear me say that a lot, of any level of that one American should have ever treated another one, especially in the eyes of the enemy. And I know the Vietnamese are one of our staunchest and best allies in the East right now. They really are. I personally understand the value of the Vietnam War. I still even hear people that never fought it that want to talk about it. But as a soldier, I understand the value of the Vietnam War and what we were able to learn from it, what made us what we are today. And you have to think about this. I mean, we can't seem to win a war anymore because, and people want to talk that trash about it, but we can't because nobody seems to want to win them because we get in there and kick the living dog shit out of everybody because of the absolute. I mean, the closest country to us, really. Uh, I mean, other than Israel, but the closest country to us militarily, our Salvation Army could walk through them in a fucking week. I mean, it's there's nothing out there that compares to us. There truly isn't. With the battlefield experience, the level of training, the technical competency, the physical competency, the absolute elite of the elite in the world is our armed forces, and not just our elite armed forces. Our what whenever I was in the army, what we referred to as the straight legs, the regular RA guys, or even the National Guard guys, and you hear me give them shit, and you're gonna hear me talk shit about jarheads because jarheads and us, we just talk shit about each other, and everybody talks shit about the Navy, but and the fucking Air Force. But if I mean, honestly, if you need an espresso made, there's nobody or that can make an espresso in this country like an Air Force or enlisted member. Uh-huh. Those guys, I've never in my life seen people who could sit at a desk so proficiently. But and maybe complain about that their air conditioner quit working. Okay, I'm gonna fuck with them. I mean, it's just the way it is. But no, but on any and every level, our armed forces is beyond the is so far beyond the level of any other armed force. It's I mean, it's indescribable. Yeah, yeah. But we got that from Vietnam. We got that from the hard lessons of World War II, of Korea. Those are. Are you okay?
Yeah, YouTube's being stupid.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, it's still
Okay. Anyhow, uh, um, yeah, I saw the screen go black. I was like, oh shit. But anyway, we could not have got that or reached the level that we are without those lessons, and without the lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan. Uh, like I said, there's no comparing the U.S. Army to any other armies out there. There's just no comparing. And what the baby boomers did to their veterans was beyond abhorrent, which is actually where I was going. I know I went off on another tangent. I do that all the time. Uh, but the generation before them, which is aptly called the greatest generation, those who went through World War II and Korea, uh, were were an inspiration to Gen X. Uh, and Gen X was a great generation. But what I'm hearing from, especially from millennials, is how they're suffering, and they're basically the new age of boomers. How it's so that somehow they've got some special form of suffering because it's a digital age. And that there's what they went through isn't comparable to what we went through, uh, and how boomers, or I'm sorry, how Gen Xers were neglected by their parents, and somehow that makes us bad. No, no, I mean, and like I said, not all millennials are bad people. I mean, but you are a whiny fucking generation in general, the same as the boomers were a whiny generation that wanted shit handed to them. That's why communism was so big in the 60s. Socialism, communal living, things like that. And that's why communism is poking its ugly head up again. It does it every other generation. Basically, the generations that have busted their asses and made it easy for their kids, which, and quite frankly, millennials, nobody really has it easier than millennials except for the boomers. Millennials do have some challenges, and there are new challenges, but new challenges are just old challenges. Like you hear people say all the time, well, you don't know how I feel about something. Yes, I do. Nobody invented a special version of sadness or anger or happiness or despair for you. Okay, it's all the same feeling. What causes those feelings may be different, but it's still the same thing. And what you have to do is, basically get off your ass, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and make a difference. You've heard me on this program many, many, many a time talking about the things I had to do when I was poor, when I was working, and I'm seeing kids sitting in $30,000 vehicles talking on a $1,400 cell phone about with a $9 cup of coffee sitting next to them, sitting there talking about how they just don't make enough money to make it in the world. Yeah, okay. There seems to be decisions that you could make as far as financing goes. Okay. Just saying. You're not maybe don't shop at the boutique grocery stores that only sell free range celery because it's cruelty free and that's the way you have to live. Stop just genuflecting to the gods uh, of wokeness and stop virtue signaling and maybe put your head down and buy a bag of rice, buy a bag of flour, buy a bag of potatoes, learn to cook. Okay, there's these things that you can get at the store. They're about this big, about that big around. Sometimes they're red, sometimes they're blue. They're called cans of coffee, and that can cost about as much as that one coffee you've got in your hand, and that can will make about 400 of those. Think about it. It's
And a
it
fucking a decent coffee maker. We're not sponsored. Get a fucking coffee
Mr.
maker
Coffee's,
for
yeah,
like
Mr. Coffee. There's a
50.
reason Mr. Coffee was one of the first, and it's still here because they make a damn good coffee maker
Yeah.
at a reasonable price. And like I said, that in Cleveland Kitchen, their kimchi and their pickles and stuff, they don't pay me. Mr. Coffee don't pay me, but they make a hell of a product.
Yeah, stop fucking drinking Starbucks. Go out, pay the $15 for a fucking like cheap little Mr. Coffee maker, and go with a. If you're gonna go cheap, go Mr. Coffee, because it won't have a bunch of functions, but it'll work for more than a
Yeah,
year.
you just hit the button and it makes a pot of coffee. And that Cafe Bustelo comes in a yellow can. Actually, that's the stuff I buy. It's a Mexican coffee brand, really really good. That and I also happen to be a big Folgers guy, but that would just happen whenever I lived in Kansas City. I actually lived up in Northtown, up by the Folgers factory, and waking up every day to that smell was just it was literally like heaven. I'm telling you, it was wonderful. But there are decisions while you're sitting there bitching about how Gen Xers are out of touch. No, we just and if you don't want our help, absolutely. I'm just here because I do care about the people that live in this country. I care about millennials. You are some lazy shits, some of you. Some of you are some damn good people. I happen to really like old producer Jeeves over here, and seems to be a go-getter, but and no insult to the individual. If let's just say, if when I call you a bunch of lazy shits, if it hurts your feelings, then it probably applies to you. If it doesn't hurt your feelings, it's probably not applying to you. It's what we used to refer to in the army as a shotgun statement. If it hit you, it was probably meant to. If it doesn't hit you, probably wasn't. uh don't get on there and complain whenever you're surrounded, and especially don't be getting on there surrounded by wealth and surrounded by millionaires talking about the virtues of communism and socialism. I mean, yeah, I understand. Okay, I truly understand, millennials, that you were sold a bill of goods. You were screwed on that too when it came to where they told you, oh, you got to go to college. It doesn't matter. Just go to college. But I have to tell you, I was told the same thing when I was a youngster. The difference is I didn't buy that shit. Okay. Everybody told me that, and I didn't buy it. And I'm better off for it. I went through apprenticeships. I learned things on my own as far as that goes. I have been to college. I have taken college courses, but only those that were germane to whatever job that I was doing at the time. I didn't, study 14th century French fucking poetry or gender studies because it wasn't necessary to drive a train or to operate an excavator. So I didn't take them. Uh, yes, you were lied to, but you bought the lie. Okay. And I hear that, and I've heard the whole victim blaming, victim shaming. No, it's not victim shaming. It's not victim. It's being aware. Okay. And yeah, I don't feel as bad for you as or I'm sorry, not as bad for you as strongly against you as I do the shitbirds in the colleges and the shitbirds in the high schools that sold you this bag of shit and told you it was chocolate fudge. No, 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 they fucked you. They fucked you right. But I'm not gonna. At the same time, I'm not gonna completely leave you without some level of responsibility for that decision. It's just like the housing boom. If you make that, and that's what I said the whole time. Everybody was talking about these evil bankers, this evil, this and this. Uh, okay, yeah. Now it was politicians also that set that up, uh, changing the rules of banking that made it easy for people to get loans that probably shouldn't have gotten them. But at the same time, if you have a job making $25,000 a year and somebody tells you they can finance you for a $3 million house and your payments, oh, they're only going to be like $10,000 a month, and you only make $25,000 a year, chances are you can't afford that house. Okay, just because somebody will finance it doesn't mean you should do it. Okay, it's a bad idea. Okay, just I mean, they could make it absolutely perfectly legal for me to stick my pecker in a light socket. That doesn't make it a good fucking idea. Okay, personal responsibility has a lot to do with it. And like I said, I'm not just saying that you it's all on you and it's all on millennials, but you make good decisions. Be suspicious. Don't, and especially don't trust politicians or like me. Don't fucking trust me. I'm talking to you. Okay, don't be skeptical. The healthiest instinct we have is skepticism. To look at something and wonder, okay, healthiest. Don't just automatically walk away from everything and be a cynic. That's a bad idea. But be skeptical. Healthy skepticism is very important, and that's the best lesson I can give anybody. Be skeptical and be more reliant. Learn more. Learn to fix your car. Learn to cook your meals. This is the only prison that exists in the world is this. You can either use this as a prison or you can use it as an instrument to set you free. The more knowledge you put into your brain, the more knowledge you put into yourself, the more skills you put into yourself, the freer you are as a human being because the more choices you have. The more empty you leave this, the more of a prison it is. Okay. Now, I know I've gotten a little tangent laden, and I'm going to leave that alone. I am going to hit you with some books and some movies this time. Great movie. Excellent movie, especially if you like slapstick comedy. I don't think Mel Brooks had anything to do with it, but it's almost Mel Brooksy in the way that it was made. The movie I'm recommending is The Hebrew Hammer. Just watch it.
Fucking movie's great.
It is hilarious. It is unbelievably hilarious. It is. It's just great. Now, as far as books go, I've got a couple of books here that I'd like to recommend. A couple of books I read when I was young. One of them is How to Pick Up and Impress Women by a man named Dick Hitzwater. Another one is I Was a Russian Female Wrestler by Tora Titov. Anyway, he didn't even get that. No, those aren't real books, okay? No, that was something we used to do when we was kids.
It took me a second.
Tora Tithoff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when we was kids, the big one was sliding down the rope by Peter Burns, or Another one was 2 Miles to the Outhouse by Willie Make It and Betty Won't. Yeah, no, I didn't have any books to recommend. Uh, but yeah, the movie The Hebrew Hammer. If you can check it out, you're gonna love it. It's just a great movie. Um, yeah, I'll cut her short now. Still got about 12 different subjects I could talk about, but the points I wanted to make is, and the thing about the politics thing, the politics versus principles thing, is a man should always, a man, a woman, a good person is principled. They have a set of principles and they stand by them. Whether, even if I agree with those principles, because your principles don't make you right, and that doesn't make everybody else wrong. And that's something that we've seen in politics is people internalize their politics, and they think, well, I'm a good person and I believe this and such, so if you don't believe this and such, that must translate into you being a bad person. And now I can harm you because you're a bad person. It doesn't work that way. Like the old song says, there's only you and me, and we just disagree. There's nobody good, there's nobody bad, unless somebody's being overtly good or overtly bad. But Donald Trump is not shat from the womb of Satan. He's not some devil. He's not a king trying to be a king. As a matter of fact, he's been, I'd have to say, slightly less authoritarian than really the last three presidents we've had. This old Georgie Porgy got a little stiff, or got a little high-handed there a few times too. I mean, he wasn't anything like Barack Obama as far as that goes. He wasn't literally militarizing the IRS to go after his friggin' enemies, but he wasn't. I'm not saying George was a good guy by any means. He was a huge disappointment to me, and uh, of course, Biden, we're still not sure if he was even alive, but uh, yeah, principles are what make a person. And because somebody disagrees with you doesn't necessarily make them evil. It doesn't usually make them evil. It doesn't make them a bad person. They just disagree with you. And if you think that you are that good of a person, that anybody who disagrees with you is a bad person, you're probably the shitty person. Okay? No matter how much, you know, virtue signaling that you do. I mean, nobody is as good as they think they are. If they understand that, then they're probably a lot better person than the person who doesn't understand that, the person who thinks they're great and wonderful. Nobody is that wonderful. Okay, and politics doesn't make you, like I said, it's not your God. Okay, your ethics, your principles. If you can look at at a politician and not judge them by the D or the R or the I or the whatever it is after their name, but judge them, and not necessarily on even what they say, because sometimes that's all you've got. Okay, because they're a new guy, they haven't really done much, but judge them by their actions, the things that they do. He said Trump's not a great and wonderful person. He's not Satan. He's not. He's done a slightly better job, but he's done some really dumb shit that quite frankly, uh, yeah, he's turning into a politician. That's just the way it is, and no politician can be trusted. But your family can, your friends can. Do what you can to make those. Do what you can to foster and nurture those relationships, because, like I say, those are the ones that matter. Family is everything. Friends are everything, and yet those are what you believe in. That's the foundation of your life. Don't let some like I say, don't let some politician or some shithead influencer uh, somehow turn you against your family. Because trust me, that politician, that influencer, if you were on fire, they wouldn't cross the street to piss you out, and that's a fact. No matter what they say on their little videos, they don't give a shit about you. Love your family, love your friends, love your community. Shalom.